Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. We've got a ton of news coming today. Now, guys, this is not the fusion. Let me get that out of the way right at the start of the video. This is the new Faction Unity champion. We've got a whole bunch of new info on him. He looks to be absolutely bonkers. Not really a surprise, these Faction Unities. But yes, to reiterate, this is not the new fusion. Not the new fusion. Okay, good. That's out of the way. Let's go. So, I think, first of all, I didn't talk about this yesterday. We did get the news about this yesterday, but there is an extra legendary event active right now for Ancient Shards. We're going to have two different 15x events. Let me actually bring up the full list of those. Okay, so here we go. These are the full list of the champions. There's today, the 4th of February, Tuesday. We've got these champs, and then tomorrow, Wednesday, the 5th of February, we'll have some other ones, both events lasting 24 hours. So there are void ones up for grabs here, and of course there's stuff in progressives on sacreds and on primals, but you only have the extra legendary event. It's only for the ancients. Do bear that in mind. But Sun Wukong, Lady Kimmy, Feral the Barkhorn, Bel's the Reckoner, and King Galkabar today. I think the obvious choice here would be Feral the Barkhorn. I think he is definitely the best. Kimmy's not bad. Sun Wukong is very good, but you probably have him for free. Bells, we had a guaranteed for him recently. I think he's only okay. And sort of same thing with King Galkabar. I think he's only sort of okay. That's my thought on these. I think Feral the Barkhorn hard wins. He is absolutely phenomenal for Chimera. Absolutely phenomenal for Hydra as well. Just gives your team lots of big damage boosts with his passive. He's bringing you Perfect Veil, which is rare. Lots of buffs and debuffs. Passive damage boost. Yeah, he's very, very good. Those are my thoughts on that. Let's see, how do the ancient champions compare for tomorrow? Would that be a better place for your extra legendary? Grand Oak Podrick, very good. Stock the Broken, good but recent fusion. Elva Autumnborn, again, very good, though you might have her from the revival path. Withier is decent. Lady of Erath got buffed. She's actually decent. Good stuff in there as well. I'd say Grand Oak Podrick is also very good. I'd say probably not quite as good as Feral. I mean, yeah, slightly weaker, I'd say, than Feral, but also very strong. Podrick also very good for Hydra, very good for Chimera, very good for Fire Knight with his ally attack. He's great. Lots of buffs and ally attack. Strong. Stock the Broken, recent fusion. A good champion. Doesn't fit the meta, but he's a very strong poisoner and burn activator, which is pretty cool. Makes him pretty good. Elva is probably a bit more generally useful. Just she's a very solid reviver, healer, cleanser, block debuffs, increase speed. Great for Chimera, easy to use, decent in arena. She's strong she's not like totally OP. There's certainly better options than her pretty much everywhere, but she is very good. Withier, I think, is again sort of solid, just healer, reviver, not reviver, excuse me, healer, protector. Does a lot of healing, very tanky. And Lady of Erath, I think, is kind of nice. Now, here's the question. Will she work well in Hydra auto battles? I think probably yes is the answer. But she does bring you cooldown reduction. I actually might rate her kind of high for like some cooldown reduction. In fact, let me actually rate her pretty highly. I think cooldown reduction, auto Trunda teams for Hydra quick battles now. Kind of appealing. So yeah, from the voids then, obviously there's no void event. It's just progressive chance. Lady Noelle, Supreme Galek, Fidey Tealcrest, and then Sir Nicholas, Senna Amberheart, Rack of Wildtide. Well, I mean, Lady Noelle, she's a recent fusion. She is very, very good. Supreme Galek, I have him. I'm a bit whelmed by Supreme Galek, honestly. He's kind of disappointing. I think he was pretty darn good when he came out, and then I think they released a lot of other champions that do a similar role, but better. So yeah, he's sort of, I have him, and I don't really use him, to be honest. I think Fidey Tealcrest, though, is excellent. Full team reset, the perfect veil. I know you guys from comments are big fans of Fidey. I think Fidey is great. Sir Nicholas, again, I think if you wanted him, you would have got him from the Titan event. I would not be pulling for him in a progressive. He is very good with Lady Noelle. I think they're genuinely, again, I've said this in multiple videos. I did a whole video on Sir Nicholas in a 9-piece protection build. And definitely if you have the Faction Unity or a Mythical from the Sacred Order, Lady Noelle plus Sir Nicholas are an amazing combo. 9-piece protection, Sir Nicholas. Amazing combo for Siege. Yeah, even just for Classic Arena, they're kind of bonkers. Tag team, all of that. But you kind of need Lady Noelle to even consider really pulling Sir Nick, I think, you know? Yeah, Sir Nick opens up unkillable teams for Clan Boss, but it's physically impossible to have enough shards to go for progressive void chance. Unless you're spending tons of money, in which case you probably don't really need to kill Clan Boss. And yeah, you need to be beating Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss to get Void Shards, really. So yeah, Senna is very good. And Raka is a decent champ. Again, I think she'd be quite decent for Chimera. Lots of buffs and stuff. There you go. I think for the voids, I definitely it'd be Fighty or Senna for me, depending on what you want more. Senna is that just Chimera God, absolutely fantastic. Fighty is more general, definitely a Hydra God for sure. I'd probably leaning, like I said, I'd lean towards Senna myself, then Fighty, and then from the Ancients, I'd be looking for Firol, would be my advice. You could definitely consider Elva or Lady of Ireth. Grand Oak Podrick, extremely good too. Wukong, if you don't have him, hopefully you do, because he's like constantly as a free promo code for new players and all of that. Yeah, Wukong is real good. So that's some of my thoughts on that. Right, let's jump over to this guy, Admiral Black. Admirable. He's very admirable. You know, there's a lot to like here. Admiral Blacktusk. He is the faction unity for the dwarves. In fact, you can see he's got obviously a banner on his back, and he's got like the. It's actually quite fun with the little gemstone spinning around. All the faction unities have this glyph thing, hologram on the floor, and banner on their back. So yeah, he is faction unity for the dwarves, and he is very good. Very good, I think. Spirit Affinity support. Legendary, of course. Let's take a look at his kit. So his A1 Blacktusk's Axe attacks one enemy, has a 40. That bucks up to 60% chance of placing stun for 1 turn. Debuff cannot be resisted when he is attacked. When this champion is attacking out of his active turn. So counterattack pretty much is what that's going to be. I mean, 60% chance to stun A1 is good. Captain's Orders. Now, this is where it starts to get crazy. 6th turn, this books to a 3-turn cooldown, removes all debuffs from all allies, then teams up with all allies to attack a single enemy. So, I believe this is the first full team ally attack champion that also comes with a full cleanse, by the way, on a 3-turn cooldown. Pretty much the standard, the best standard. We're talking like Cardial, Lady Mikage, Farrakhan the Fat, all of them. We just mentioned Grand Oak Podrick earlier on, are on a 4-turn cooldown. This is 1 turn shorter. So he will be firing this off much more consistently than the other ally attackers. I guess one slight downside, I mean, you definitely you're looking at this and I'm thinking, man, imagine 4-piece Merciless, 4-piece Reflex. If you proc both of those, you could ally attack back to back. That's kind of nuts. One slight downside is with 4-piece Merciless, 4-piece Reflex, I suppose you you might overcap and actually be over-reducing the cooldown and you wouldn't get the benefit. But I'm pretty sure, let's be honest, a 3-turn cooldown ally attack is probably completely bonkers. Defender of Skyrim. No, Defender of Skyiron. Or, no, Defender of Sky Iron. Probably Sky Iron. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, iron, dwarves, metal. I don't know. Let's check this out. 5 books to a 3-turn cooldown. And you obviously are going to book these faction unities because they're bonkers, yeah? Removes all buffs from a target enemy. Puts stun debuff on them for 2 turns. Fills this champion's turn meter by 50%. Oh my god. Fills his turn meter by an additional 10% for each buff removed from the target. And it is a faction unity move. So with 1 other dwarf, the buff removal and stun debuff cannot be resisted. With 2... resets the cooldown of this skill when an enemy is killed while under a stun debuff placed by this champion, and with 3 other dwarves allies deal double damage to targets under stun debuffs placed by this champion. Ooh-wee, this is spicy. I mean, just for bosses, so like, let's say Hydra or Chimera or Demon Lord, you obviously cannot stun them, so he's just going to buff strip them. Okay, and then the rest of it really does nothing. It's still kind of not bad, though, because now you've got a 3-turn ally attack, and then a move that's giving you 50% turn meter to just get back to that ally attack quicker. It's actually not bad. It's worth considering. Perhaps, though, if you are running Reflex and Merciless, you might even just turn off this A3 for some of that content. That'd be an interesting thing to test out. Because it would, if you start using this move for the turn meter boost, it would start mulching, basically consuming your Reflex and Merciless procs, will go into reducing its cooldown instead of the A2. Now, for Arena, for anywhere where you can stun somebody, this is potentially very strong. Full buff strip, 2-turn stun with a big turn meter boost. You could follow that up with the ally attack then. And with the 3 other dwarves, they're going to take double damage. You are going to rip through and absolutely destroy the enemy. There is no, it's not like Queen of Hearts, though, where she's placing Deathbrand, right? You block revive somebody. we're pretty familiar with that sort of combo at the moment. It's very similar to that, but you're not getting the death brand. So you're not blocking revive. They can just revive the person that you kill. But yeah, it can reset the cooldown on this. Kind of spicy, just like slapping the 2-turn stuns around, pumping out ally attacks like crazy. Okay, cool. Then Uniter of Dwarves. Let's check out his passive. This passive is nuts. Allies will counterattack whenever they lose 10% or more of their max HP from a single hit. That's just his passive. So that works regardless of faction allies. Again, I think that's absolutely crazy. We think probably not crazy useful in Hydra. Decent, but not crazy, because often, you know, you're pretty well protected in Hydra. I do think for Chimera, some of those Chimera forms hit you very hard. You're just going to counterattack. Losing 10% max HP is really not a lot. So it's quite easy to trigger counterattacks. For Arena, basically everyone is going to have almost permanent counterattack. I guess a support champion might not do 10% max HP, but yeah, that's a pretty crazy passive just by default. A lot of counterattacking, very strong against bosses, very strong. Yeah, kind of nuts. With the Dwarf Unity then, with one faction ally, whenever an ally puts fear, true fear, freeze, provoke, sleep, stun, or petrification, so basically hard crowd control, not sheep though, sheep isn't included, but other hard crowd control, fills that champion's turn meter by 20% once per skill. Okay. So it's just going to make your crowd control champions, you know, just cycle through their turns a bit faster. Solid enough. Nothing crazy, but nice. With two faction allies, whenever an ally is attacked, has a 50% chance of placing a 50% decrease resist debuff and a 30% decrease speed debuff on the attacker for one turn. If your ally is under block damage, unkillable, ally protection, or stone skin, the chance increases to 100%. I think even without those, so 100% chance to place those debuffs if you've got these big defensive buffs, but even without them, 50% chance is still pretty good. Like, I'm thinking about Chimera here, mainly. In Chimera, there is a trial where you need decreased resistance, and obviously decreased speed is arguably, you know, top 3. It's certainly top 3 debuffs for Chimera. It's incredibly impactful. He brings both. This is definitely an amazing Chimera move. He's going to have it up basically the whole time. And we do have some good block damage and ally protectors, I do think, in Dwarves. So you could definitely get that activated consistently if you wanted to. Yeah, I think this is pretty solid, actually. Pretty good. Decreased resistance, not super useful elsewhere. But yeah, it's kind of a nice thing. Then 3 faction allies. At the start of each round, put stone skin buff on all allies for 1 turn. If there's multiple champs on the team with this skill, only one will activate. Wow! He gives you 4-piece stone skin. With you need like 4 dwarves, including him. You need him and 3 other dwarves. He just gives everybody stone skin. That is absolutely bonkers. Then his aura, 60 accuracy in all battles for allies, and 15% speed for dwarves. I mean, I definitely think, you know, all of these Faction Unity champions obviously excel in Siege. This bonus is perhaps enough for, I mean, yeah, if you're building your dwarves without stone skin because you're running them with him, it does open you up to putting other sets on them and really going crazy. Like, you know, you could have whatever. Let's look at some dwarves for an example. Like, you could go pretty, there's some good dwarves to put in with him, but like you could have, instead of running like multiple people in stone skin, you could have like Goffred in bolster set and Savage or something crazy like that. You could have Senna in, I don't know, 9-piece protection, and now she's going to give her 4-piece stone skin as well. Like, that is genuinely such a crazy passive right there. I think it does open up very much so a full dwarf team to being actually really strong for classic and tag team arena. Doesn't really work at all in live arena. Disaster. They just ban your guy and then you've got nobody in stone skin. Uh-oh. And absolutely bonkers for Siege. Absolutely crazy for Siege. So yeah, this guy is going to be a monster for Siege. All the arenas, not live arena though, because bans really wreck the unities, I think, quite often in live arena. But that is absolutely nuts. Wow, what a move. What a move. I think, you know, one thing, where is this guy going to be good? Obviously, he's going to be absolutely crazy in Siege, classic tag arena. I think he's got very good potential for Demon Lord, maybe Hydra, actually, with the ally attack, and definitely Chimera. Helping you with some trials, helping you do other stuff here. I think he's got lots of potential there. Any wave-based content, of course, is going to be good. I do think Fire Knight is very interesting as well. Basically, within the one champion, you know, the one thing to watch out for in Fire Knight would be the STONESKIN buff maybe is bad, unless your team is fast enough to outrun it. But, like, you come into Fire Knight, and by the way, dwarves have Newt in the faction, yeah? They've got frickin' Newt in there. And I guess because Newt is placing freeze, he's also going to give Newt 20% turn meter every time Newt A1s. That's nice. But yeah, you come in. Let's say you're going in with, like, Newt and Senna, whatever. You get smacked by the boss. You get a full team counterattack from this guy. Because, you know, the Fire Knight easily hits you for 10% max HP. So everyone gets a counterattack. You get some nasty debuffs, like decreased speed when Fire Knight smacks you. Then Admiral, I can't stop calling him Admiral. Admiral Blacktusk comes in, cleanses off those debuffs, and gives you a full ally attack. And it's such a short cooldown ally attack. It's very easy to get your Newt, I think, cycling back to spamming all those A1s and just keeping the turn meter down. I think he's got a ton of potential, tons for Fire Knight. Yeah. Of course, you know, we've been sat on stage 10 hard mode dungeons for a good while. I would expect more stages of hard mode dungeons probably sometime this year. It's been a while. We've had a lot of power creep. So I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be surprised if we didn't see more hard mode dungeons, and he could be pretty good there. Quick look at the dwarves. There's some very strong ones. Frolny is solid in Arena. He's a good champion. And Frolny also does bring in that ally protection on his second form and that tankiness. I think that Frolny's second form, I've said many times, I don't think it's particularly good, but I do think it synergizes very, very well with the Faction Unity guy. Goffred, great little Arena champion, also very good with the Faction Unity guy. And it can be difficult to build enough accuracy on your Goffred because you often want him tanky. But yeah, him getting extra turns, getting the turn meter boost from his stuns and provokes. It's actually quite a nice little combo. I think they combo quite well together. Mountain King's even not bad. Obviously, Acrizia with counterattacks and ally attacks. Pretty darn good. So she's very strong for some of these bosses. Newt, needless to say, not for Arena, but for other areas. Molly maybe could come in. Senna, obviously, completely bonkers for Chimera. Actually really good for Arena as well. And of course, Arnon, we just had a progressive for him, and he's absolutely crazy in Arena. Tormund is amazing in Arena as well. I think, you know, you've got some duds in there for sure, like Gronjar, absolute trash, right? But the dwarves on the whole are actually very strong. I haven't even mentioned Trunda. The dwarves are very, very strong. And yeah, I think he is very strong. I think he's very powerful. Now, bear in mind, I think Shadowkin are also a very strong faction, and Sylvan Watchers are pretty strong as well. So yeah, we could have a few bangers of Faction Unity in a row, and then who knows, they might drop a new faction and a new Faction Unity as well or something when we get there. Don't know. I wonder what's going to happen. What will happen when they end the Faction Unity? Will they do more than one Faction Unity per faction? I would love to see some little budget epic Faction Unity champions. Would be pretty cool. I don't know. We'll see what they do, but yeah, I think, needless to say, this guy is absolutely nuts. I think he's very, very good. And finally, guys, we do have just some small events, but kind of nice, right? Upcoming Wednesday, the 5th of February, 3x speed from Dragon's Lair. Actually, a great time to farm Dragon. In fact, the only time you would ever consider farming Dragon. And then Saturday, the 8th of February, 3x for curse sets from Ice Golem's Peak, which is also pretty decent. Obviously, it's a very strong set for Hydra, but I mean, if you got the Mad Hatter, you probably have less need of curse sets than you did before. I don't know. But there it is. Anyway, guys, that is everything. Let me know. What do you think about the Admiral? Is he admirable or is he not? Are you pulling for the extra legendary event? And who are you going for? For me, I have 34 Ancients. I'm not going to go for this. I'm going to be trying to save back up and rebuild my poor old Ancient stockpile, which has been very much demolished. And of course, bearing in mind as well, guys, of course, I would expect a new fusion might start this weekend. Most likely it's going to start next week. But I don't know. Again, we still do not know anything about the fusion. Yeah, we still don't know anything. So, hey, there we go. Thanks for watching. I will see you all next time. Goodbye.